Hi, this is Todd from the Scoundrels Cantina, and welcome to another episode of a Star Wars story. In this video, I'll be telling you the story of director Orson Krennic, who is most notably seen in Rogue One, a Star Wars story, and also the Rogue One Catalyst novel. As always, we're mixing the expanded universe and canon because we believe that there's no reason why most of it can't fit together. So anyway, let us begin. Orson Callan Krennic was a human male and was born 51 years BBY on his home planet, Lexrol. At the age of 15, he earned a place in the Republic's Future program where he met and befriended Galen Erso. After graduating from the program, he would become part of the Corps of Engineers. In 22 BBY, when the Clone Wars broke out, the Galactic Republic and the Separatist Alliance were in a full-on arms race. During the First Battle of Geonosis, Count Dooku was given the Death Star design from Poggle the Lesser and took them to Coruscant to his master, Darth Sidious. At some point, Krennic joined the Republic's Strategic Advisory Cell, which oversaw the ongoing effort against the Confederacy of Independent Systems during the Clone Wars. When they obtained the superweapon schematics, they decided to build it before the Separatists do. Krennic used his ties with Republic Speaker Mas Amedda to ensure the project was green-lighted in secret without the Jedi or the Senate even knowing about it. Soon after, difficulties arose with the labor force and the source of the superweapon's power. Krennic knew just the right person to solve his problem with the superweapon, and that was Galen Erso. But unfortunately, Erso and his family were captured by the Separatists. Krennic would organize a rescue for them, which was successful, but Galen refused to work on his project because he was neutral in the war. During the war, Orson Krennic would make a deal with the captured separatist, Poggle the Lesser. Poggle would be released, and in exchange, he would organize a massive Geonosian workforce which would begin working on some Death Star modules in the orbit of Geonosis. But in truth, the Geonosians had orders from Darth Sidious to work on the Death Star. Anyway, Krennic's and Poggle's alliance was short-lived because Poggle betrayed him and returned to Count Dooku, and in doing so, damaged Krennic's reputation. After the end of the Clone Wars and reorganization of the Republic into the Galactic Empire, Krennic finally found an opportunity to get Galen Erso on board. At that time, the project was called Celestial Power, and Galen was told that his work with Kyber crystals would be based on restoring power back to planets that were laid waste to during the Clone Wars. During all the years, Krennic despised Wilhuff Tarkin because he envied how close he was to the Emperor, but he knew that he needed him to gain the Emperor's favor. At an attempt to weaponize Galen's research, which resulted in the destruction of vital assets and forced the Empire to work overtime, Krennic was demoted to commander. Over the years, Galen was very dedicated to his work because he believed it was for the good of the galaxy, but at some point, Lyra, his wife, found out the Empire's true intentions and escaped with him and their daughter Jyn to Lamu. There they lived until 13 BBY, when director Orson Krennic finally found them to take back his most important scientist, Galen, due to the fact that the Death Star progress has halted. When Lyra rebelled against him taking Galen and her family, she was shot down by one of Krennic's death troopers, and Krennic then only took Galen. For 13 years, he had Galen work against his will for the Empire, but was unaware that he was setting the Death Star back and planting his revenge. In 0 BBY, the Death Star was finally fully operational, so Galen, in his last attempt to ensure its revenge and help the galaxy, sent an Imperial pilot to send a message to the Rebel Alliance in which he revealed its weaknesses and where to find the complete plans for it. The Death Star was first tested on the holy city of Jeddah.
Oh, it's beautiful.
But Krennic's victory was short-lived when Tarkin screwed him over and took over the battle station. He also told them that the Imperial pilot that sent the information was dispatched from Galen Erso's facility on Edu. Soon Krennic arrived there, and because of Galen's betrayal, he executed his fellow scientists and escaped Edu when the Rebel Alliance attacked, and in doing so, killed Galen. He was then summoned to Darth Vader's castle on Mustafar, and even though he feared him, he looked at this summon as an opportunity to have an audience with the Emperor, but his approaches were futile next to the Dark Lord of the Sith, and he ended up being force-choked.
Be careful not to choke on your aspirations, Director.
After this, Krennic traveled to Scarif to ensure that the Death Star plans were kept safe and also go through all of Galen's work. Very soon after, the rebels attacked in an attempt to distract them, so Krennic sent his personal guards, which he had with him at all times, the elite Death Troopers.
Are we blind? Deploy the garrison!
After learning that the data vault was breached, he went there himself to stop the rebels and ended up wounding Cassian Andor. Krennic followed the other rebel to the Citadel Tower, where he was shot in the back and heavily wounded. Soon after, to this horror, the Death Star came out of hyperspace and prepared to fire on Scarif. He had very little time to reflect on the irony of being killed by the weapon he worked on for most of his life. His final thoughts were that he would be remembered as the one behind the battle station, but then he realized where Galen actually placed the weakness. He was then directly hit by the Death Star's laser beam, which destroyed a big part of Scarif. During Orson Krennic's life with the Empire, he had a very specific style which was different compared to other Imperials. For example, he greatly favored the Delta-class T-3C shuttle, even though it was outpaced in popularity, and kept one in active use for over a decade. One more thing he favored was a custom DT-29 heavy blaster pistol, which he carried with him at all times, even though there was no need for it due to always having a few Death Troopers by his side. Anyway guys, this is it on the story of director Orson Krennic, and I hope you all enjoyed it and learned something new about the vast galaxy of Star Wars. If you want to watch more videos like this one, the link to the playlist of our other Star Wars stories will be in the description down below. And also, if you want to support this channel, hit that subscribe button for even more videos like this one. And remember guys, God is awesome, may the Force be with you always, and we'll see you in another video. You Rebel Scum.
This party's over.